All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Sunday, January 5th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. Clayton, new year, new guest. Actually, best guest. We've got him here. People have been waiting for it. It's been a while since we've had him on. It's been since the live show in Boston, and it's like we had him in front of a crowd, but now we got to get the crowd away and get him back on the show. Here he is, podcast Jesus, the one and only Kirk Minihan is back on the BO Boys. Kirk, welcome back.
Boys, as always, a thrill. Our third or fourth calendar year doing a show together. When did this marriage start? 22, 23? I don't know.
Well, we started with the Jennifer Lawrence vehicle, No Hard Feelings, which I think was June of 23. So yes, we are on year 3. Kirk, you remain the only guest on the BO Boys who's ever had their own best of compilation episode.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's always an ongoing theme here and other places in my career. But yes, and we did the live show where I got, as you guys know, I'm a big Springsteen fan, and when you get on stage with Bruce, it's a dream of mine. You get ramped up, I'm sure. Closest thing I will ever have is getting on stage with you guys, and I did say Wicked would be $1 billion baby, and I was wrong. I'll own it here. I did not think about the international implications of Wicked. Is that just because of the wizardry of it? Is it like foreign countries don't like? Why is that not doing as well? Because you're an international guy, Pat. So you know better than we would.
Yeah,
I'll let Pat speak to this. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes more sense, Clay, I think. Yeah.
I think myself and my fellow European cinema fans, we do look down a bit on the storytelling of Wizard of Oz. It's not as sophisticated as we want, with Jerry Lewis, Woody Allen.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Right. Okay. Good enough. But let me start out because I know a lot of people want me to apologize for that. So when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. As Jerry Orbach says in Dirty Dancing, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. And I was wrong on this one. So there you go.
I mean, you would have been right. I mean, here on the BO Boys, we disagree with Jerry Orbach in that you never say you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
And I think at a different time, you would have been right. Because in a time when China was on the table in a major way, when Russia was on the table in a major way, I think Russia would have been all in on this movie.
Oh, for sure.
I think they would have been. You could have got 60, 70 million out of them, and China's another 150, 200 million. So in another time, Kirk, you would have been right. So basically, you were not wrong.
I'm getting in the way of a plow, though, so I do apologize.
Well, I mean, let's get into it. We've got our first plow of the new year. So Clayton, could you kick us off right? Let's see if you could do it. Our first ever plow of 2025 for the weekend of Friday, January 3rd.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Pat. Number 1, Mufasa, The Lion King, made $23.8 million, down 35%. It lost 175 theaters. It's at $168.6 million in its third weekend of release. Number 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 made $21.2 million, down 43%. It lost 23 theaters. It's at $187.5 million in its third weekend. Number 3, Nosferatu made $13.2 million, down 39%. It added 140 theaters. It's at $69.4 million in its second weekend of release. Number 4, Moana 2 made $12.3 million, down 34%. It lost 60 theaters. It's at $425.1 million in its sixth weekend of release. Number 5, Wicked made $10.2 million, down 48%. It added 110 theaters. It's at $450.7 million in its seventh weekend of release. And number 6, A Complete Unknown made $8 million, down 31%. No theater change. It's at $41.6 million in its second weekend of release. And that's your top 6.
All right, I think we should just start at the top and work our way down here. So, Kirk, Mufasa, compared to the Lion King remake, is going to drop off significantly. The remake made like 1.6 billion. This is probably going to top out worldwide at less than $1 billion for sure.
Yep.
Do you think that matters at all? Like, do you think Disney got what they wanted out of this? Or do you think that this lion is in trouble back at Disney? Is this IP gonna get a talking to from Iger?
It will be back in some form or fashion in like 4 or 5 years or something. They'll redo it. Somebody else. You guys talked about. I think you nailed it. Nobody wanted to see this particular movie, but that doesn't matter. Like people still take their kids to see it. But this to me is like the bare minimum this movie would have made, if that makes sense. Like no matter when you said this movie was going to happen to me, whatever, 18 months ago, and you gave me a ceiling, this was like the bottom. Like this is the least amount of interest you would have in this franchise. This franchise, I mean, well, the last one did, what did you say the last one did?
I think it did about 1.6 billion worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, that's half. I mean, yeah, but like, what else? What do? You bring it back? Like, I don't know. What do you have? Like real lions? And like, I don't know. What do you do? Like, like what's left? I don't even know. I was old enough when the first one came out. I took my brother Ryan, who was younger than my son is now. I took my brother Ryan and the girl I was trying to impress to the Lion King. We went to the Assembly Square old movie theater. I was trying to seem like I'm an older brother who like cares about. And I think I probably lied. I probably said my parents are dead and I'm raising them on my own.
Right, right.
But this was a phenomenon at the time. Like I feel like 5 years from now it comes back. Did you say, Clayton? They should have just fucking animated this thing. Like, what are we doing? Like, why am I? What am I looking at? Like, what is this?
Yeah, I always say just animate it. That's my just take is just always animate it. If it's for kids, just animate it.
Yeah,
I mean, Clayton's the big proponent of the Harry Potter movies should all be animated going forward.
Yeah,
there should never be a human being playing them.
Bring back the original cast and just let them do the voices. That's what I say. Animate it. Yep.
Yeah, why not? Yes.
I do want to touch on Kirk. How did that work out for you? The original Lion King, when you took your brother and a day.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the truth. We were in high school, and I wound up. As we said back in the day, hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
We're nowhere. We were like, I'm talking like base hit, first base,
right?
Rounding in the second, and she had. This is fucking unbelievable. This is fucking unbelievable. I just realized this. She had BO.
Wow.
I just put that together.
Wow.
First of all, I told her she had BO.
Did you realize it in the moment? Was there
that I was going to be on this podcast 30 years? No, yeah, that I realized at the time.
Right.
But no, I yes, I didn't. It kind of was a turnoff, obviously. Like, at that age, usually you just say you're just happy to be in the mix. But no, that was it. That was it. That was it. That's unbelievable. I never put that together.
And imagine how bad that BO must have been, because when you're a teenager, everyone's
93,
94, I think.
Okay, so I was like 19, 20. Yeah, I was whatever, like 20, 19, 20. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there was real BO going on there.
Wow. BO.
I'm stunned at this right now.
I mean, this really makes me believe in like a higher power or fate or intelligent design or something. I mean, when people say there's nothing and then they hear a story like this, how could you not believe in something?
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah. So So no, it didn't go well. And I was already so old that I was sort of not into cartoons, but yeah, long way of saying franchises never die. Tattoo that behind your eyelids. Franchises never, ever die. They'll just come back in some different way. Mel Gibson and Charlize are going to be in a Mad Max movie together in like 9 years.
Yes.
Like, it just does. Mark Hamill will be playing Luke Skywalker 20 years from now.
Yes.
He'll be complaining about whoever the Republican president is in 20 years on the set, and they'll make the movie. Like this never ends. It never, ever ends.
Yeah. It'll be him and it'll be Rey.
Yeah, right.
It'll be whoever died from the prequel, the part 3.5 movie.
Yeah. Christopher Lee will be like a CGI or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the Lion King, I mean, the pivot has to be away from Mufasa. I think you don't blame it on lions in general, but I do think Mufasa himself should never be in another Lion King prequel, sequel. Don't even mention him. I think when you do a Lion King sequel down the road, you've got to have Simba start to talk about, actually, when I think about it, my dad was a real piece of shit. Really lay it into Mufasa in these next movies. Yeah.
Do you guys think it has rallied though from where you were, say, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, the legs saved it because this
Yeah.
was about to be a full rethink the IP, rethink the strategy situation, and it's
Mhm.
not that.
Right.
It's
Right. Right.
not that. But I think you nailed it. This is the lowest this could have done when they greenlit it.
Yeah, and I'd like to speak to that because I do think people need to pump the brakes on praising Mufasa, especially overtaking Sonic the way it has.
Mhm.
These Sonic movies, the first one made 146 domestic, the second one made 190, this one's at 187. Okay. Sonic is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Sonic is succeeding the way it's supposed to succeed. After 3 movies, it is as strong or stronger than
Right.
it was when 2 came out. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, placement is important, but Sonic is not Disney. Sonic is not Lion King adjacent, which, as we've said before, the original movie in 94 is at $423 million, which is a re-release is included in that, but domestic gross. The Lion King live action's 543, and that is the expectation for that movie, and it will not get anywhere near those.
Mm-hmm.
So to look at this chart placement and be like, well, Mufasa's beating Sonic, it's like that's not an indication of Mufasa's strength at all.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Um, Sonic, let's talk about this guy.
Mhm.
Is what is it? What is the interest level in your circles, Kirk, for Sonic? I mean, I know you were just on a cross-country road trip with the great Harry Minahan.
Yep.
Did you guys see Sonic in any town in America? Was he like, Dad, we got to pull over. We got to see what's going on with Shadow. I
Right.
need to, or else I'm not going to be able to TikTok. I'm not going to be able to
Yeah. I can't play.
talk to any
Right.
of my friends. Yeah.
Sure. No. So the first Sonic he was very into. Was it the second one that was COVID time? Is that right?
The first one came out, I think, right before COVID. It was like a
COVID.
February 2020 or January
Okay. Yeah.
2020.
Second one was
The
22.
second movie came out in the spring, but it was like 22. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So it's almost like an interesting because he was very into the first one. Opening day we saw it. Second one we saw like a couple weeks in. Third one he has no interest. So
Wow.
I don't know. He and I did, like everyone with their 12-year-old, did see a Robert Eggers film during the trip because he wanted to see that. But no, but like it's a good, like Clayton was just saying, it's a nice solid double franchise, and it's building, which is interesting. I'm surprised, but people seem to like this last one. So like good, you got like a nice little franchise. It'll make 2 or 3 more, I'm sure, and it'll do well, which is good.
This is the only thing Jim Carrey will be in at this point. From now until the day we die, we'll never
Yeah.
see Jim Carrey play anyone other than
know.
Dr. Robotnik. Do we feel okay with that? Just morally, spiritually, or
I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint exactly where it took a turn with Jim Carrey. Obviously, like weird, Jenny McCarthy. Like after Bruce Almighty just kind of slipped into comedy, or where's the movie where like, oh, this is like we're not coming back. Like
I mean,
this
the
is
number 23
Oh yeah,
feels
sure.
like a pivotal
Right.
one.
Right, sure.
I feel like that was probably very heavily I'm not, I'm going off the top of my head, but that feels very heavily Jenny McCarthy influenced, where it's conspiracy theories, let's look
Right.
into vaccines, let's look into number 23. And maybe honestly, though it feels less sinister, Mr. Popper's Penguins
Oh, that
does feel like a turning point for him.
Sure. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at his filmography, and even can you believe this? The what is it? Fun with Dick and Jane made over 100 million
Yeah.
in 2005. Now,
That
yeah.
was, yeah.
That's 20 years ago, though.
So the number 23, 2007, that seems to be, other than the kids' movies where he's a voice, seems
Right.
to have been when the worm did turn.
He was in the
sure.
Zemeckis one, right? The Christmas Carol.
He was, which was
Right.
actually a pretty decent hit.
Yeah.
But he was, just the voice, and
Right.
he did Horton Hears a Who. Yeah. So, and Yes Man, I guess in 2008 made 97, but I mean, we lived in a different world. But I do think that was around the time where people sort of got off of the Jim Carrey train. And yeah, he made a huge comeback with these Sonic movies. And I think for him to have any franchise presence at all right now, and it not being superhero, is a win for Jim Carrey fans. Because he gets to do what he wants to do in uh in this milieu, and it's not oversaturated. People, I think, are excited to see him in these movies because they know that's the only thing they're going to see him in. He's making himself special when stars are no longer special. Rarely.
And he doesn't have to have guns in the movie. He famously walked off of promoting Kick-Ass 2 because there were guns in the movie. Do you think that limits the future of this Sonic franchise at all? That Jim Carrey will not allow guns in the movie? Do you think there is a natural if you want to get Harry Minahan back into the Sonic movies, you would think you'd want to take a John Wick violent turn with Sonic down the road, but I don't think you could do it if you want to have Jim Carrey in these.
Or if he wants to reboot, Unforgiven, if he wants to play the Clint role in that, or the Gene Hackman role, you can't have, Richard Harris, of course, in that movie had guns, like, the English Bob, so he couldn't do an Unforgiven reboot.
Yeah. It is very limiting for both Jim Carrey and Sonic.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want, and I know if Sonic had a gun, he's so fast, he could kill so many people.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thought, and I can't believe I thought of it, and I put it out in the universe. But I was thinking that, although, I mean, I think that's probably why they're staying away from guns in the Sonic universe.
Yeah, because then there is full human annihilation scenarios that you have to cover if you're going to introduce that. Yeah,
he's a big anti-violent. Like, he was very affected by the slap. If you guys remember, he did an interview and he was very, very. He and Judd Apatow, I think, were gold and silver. They were very, very affected by the slap.
Judd Apatow thought that he could have killed him.
Could have killed him. That's what he tweeted. Right.
Yeah.
Could have killed him, man.
I think with Judd Apatow saying that the slap could have killed him, he just didn't trust anyone in the Academy audience to be able to catch Chris Rock if he got slapped off the stage.
Sure. Right. That's true.
You know, so that could be, we sit here from our perch and we make fun of that, but he knows that the people in that crowd are more likely to drop a person than to catch them.
Yeah, right. Like, it's a good point. Like, Helen Mirren is not catching him in that spot.
Exactly. Like she's more apt to get up and let his head hit a chair than to just give him.
I mean, there could have been $1 million baby situation for sure.
Yeah,
true. It's true.
Like, if he was a true comedian, he would have had a stool out there. And he backs up, the stool gets knocked over, Will Smith slaps him, and all of a sudden, that's $1 million baby.
And I will say this: if Demi Moore is nominated this year, and I think she very well might, she should shave her head at the Oscars this year as a Chris Rock nod. I mean, she has to. She has to go G.I. Jane. Like, she has to go all in at that point.
She has to. Okay. I mean, we're gonna get into the Globes later, but does Demi Moore tonight bring Chris Rock and Will Smith up together, and she's got her head shaved, and she just looks at the camera and she goes, "Yep."
And maybe she slaps Margaret Qualley. Sort of full,
That I would love to see that.
Great
and
moment.
then they cut to Nikki Glaser and she's doing one-arm push-ups.
Right. Yeah. And then she says something that's like, like, whoa, she shouldn't say that. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, Nikki Glaser is going to come out dressed like Hannibal Lecter on a horse. Somehow they're going to figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the greatest hit.
We'll get deep into the Globes in a little bit, but let's keep just going down this list and move on to you hinted at it, that Harry Minahan wanted to see a Robert Eggers film. Number 3 is Nosferatu. Is this a comeback? I mean, this movie's doing really well, a good hold in its second weekend. Is this a comeback for the much maligned Dracula, Kirk? What do you think?
I guess. I mean, he wanted to see a horror movie, and he kept saying, "Dad, everyone says it's a really good horror movie." And I was like, and I'm pretty liberal with I was like, boy, this is going to be uncomfortable watch for the two of us.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gone over 100 million worldwide, right? I believe
it
now.
is.
Is that right? I saw somebody tweet that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, domestically, it's at 69. So yeah, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm sure it's made more than 30 million internationally. Yeah, this is
There's
a
a comeback,
flat
yeah.
out
There's a
hit.
comeback. Yeah, he's back. He's back.
He's back. Drac is back.
Drac is
I
back.
mean, does it matter that this actually isn't Dracula? That
No.
Nosferatu is a ripoff of Dracula?
Yeah, no, it's adjacent. No, you think it's like, yeah, no, it's a hit. It's a legit. It's gonna make 100 million domestic, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how much you make this weekend, Clayton?
So this weekend it made, so it made 13.
Oh, yeah, this is gonna get to 100.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts on the film. It's not my favorite era of setting a movie in. It's Dracula. That world is not my particular thing, but like, great. Like, it's Eggers is a good filmmaker. So, I enjoyed it. It was like being a B for me.
Kirk, saying that, what would be your favorite era for a movie to be set in? What's the era where you're like, I'm seeing this no matter what?
Yeah, and specifically Dracula's in it. Would you have rather Eggers remade, say, Vampire in Brooklyn?
If you put Dracula as like one of the guys like breaking balls with Henry Hill and the crew in Goodfellas, not like a made guy, but just a guy like in prison, when they're in prison. It's my favorite movie ever. When they're in prison and, like 60s, 70s for me, like Woodward, Bernstein, Dracula.
Okay.
Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, Mark McClure, Dracula.
Okay.
Like, just pick, you said the movie in the 70s, early 80s, Kramer versus Dracula.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dracula has an affair with Meryl Streep, wants the kid. He's like, oh, I want the kid. And Dustin Hoffman's like, this is fucking Dracula. Like,
Right.
That's a good movie.
He throws the class of Dracula.
Yeah.
And you don't Dustin Hoffman doesn't tell Dracula before the take that he's going to break the glass right next to
break the glass and smashes on Dracula's face, and it's very emotional. Yeah, that's I'm trying to think like another good 70, even you put Dracula in like Carnal Knowledge or something. Like you go erotic like that. He kind of works in the 70s. I think Dracula's best in the 70s, early 80s.
I think Dracula in an erotic drama that's not about him killing anyone. That is just about his relationship. Is he having an affair? He's a professor at a university. Is he having an affair with a grad student? That type of thing. In the 70s. Yeah, that would be a great use of Dracula.
Yeah, like a Mike Nichols. Mike
Mhm.
Nichols directed Dracula adult sex drama.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah. But yeah, it's not my but hey, listen. Like I'm also not a big Eggers guy. Like he's obviously a talented guy, but not my world, but it doesn't matter. Like huge. This guy's directing movies make like 150 million worldwide. Big box office win.
Did Harry Minahan get what he wanted out of this? He wanted to go see a horror movie. Was this what he expected, or was he like, whoa?
No, as he said to me, Dad, it's not as good as Night Swim.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, yep. I said, in some ways you're right. In some ways you're right.
Yeah.
Not as good as Night Swim. That is where the bar is.
Yeah. Night Swim is kind of the horror movie like Mendoza line for us. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, and he was looking back a year ago. He's like, me and Dad, after the holidays, we saw a great horror movie. Maybe I could recapture that part of my youth from a year ago.
Not so much.
Not so much. But enough people are getting tricked, I guess, into thinking that a Nosferatu will give them what Night Swim gave them.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a hit.
Yes, absolutely. It's great. Hey, look, I mean, anything here, we're happy. If it's a hit, it's a hit. We'll take it.
It does not bode well for the future of Dracula movies, though, if Dracula can't even beat out a swimming pool with the young audience, right?
Yeah.
So that does worry me for just Dracula in general. This might be just an outlier, because I do think it is the fact that it's Eggers and it is a horror movie when there's no other horror movies. I do think that is the thing, is like Eggers is really the guy that people are seeing this movie for.
Yeah, no stars in it, no butts in the seats like movie stars are in this movie.
No.
Like people we like, but there's no stars.
So you don't think Johnny Depp's daughter, does she get a boost from this? Because people really like how she, moves her body around and she's
Sure.
freaking out and spasming. Like,
Mhm.
does she get something out of this? And does she get pigeonholed? Do we think now she's only getting movies where she's spasming all the time?
Could be. I mean, she was good. She's good. Maybe. Yeah. I don't. We'll get to it. I do have a bone to pick with Pat. Maybe with both of you guys. We move down the list of these kind of people who are graduating to movie stars when they are not movie stars. But
I know where he's going, and I can't wait.
We'll get there because I mean, you know how protective I am of my guys. I get a little frustrated, but yeah,
we may have to talk about the lawyer test. So I guess Lily Rose Depp, you don't think next week you could put her in a lawyer movie and people are going to go? What if it is a lawyer movie and the lawyer is spasming the entire case?
Yes. Look, I like Nicholas Hoult, but you put him on the jury and you can't put the movie. I had to go to New York to go see that goddamn movie. So, I don't even, I don't know. Yeah.
Just having him in a courtroom, let alone he wasn't even the lawyer.
No, I don't really know what, yeah. So I don't know.
And does it help? One last thing on Nosferatu, because we've been covering the big story of will Aaron Taylor Johnson get the part of James Bond?
Mm-hmm.
Craven, of course, put a dent in that. Does Nosferatu help? Does that stem the bleeding?
No.
Or is he off the list?
No, he's off the list. I'm glad you brought my idea. I tweeted out a couple of weeks ago. I'd like a Logan kind of one-off movie with an older grizzled Bond taking on a younger, some bad guy from the past or something.
Mm-hmm.
I want a one-off of those. That's probably not going to happen. But no, the next Bond is going to be, I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
Josh O'Connor.
Wow.
Okay. I mean,
that's
what people are saying.
Not a risky pick, but it feels like it's in the air. So yeah, I could see it.
Wow. What does Aaron Taylor Johnson do at that point? The day that's announced.
Oof, that's tough.
If you're Entertainment Tonight and you're looking to revitalize that show, you got to get a camera in Aaron Taylor Johnson's room the morning that the Bond announcement is happening.
It's a must. Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah, it's like Spielberg.
I think that's a great idea in general to drum up just interest in this Bond search. Is you make it like the draft. You say, these 5 actors you are all in the running, and we're going to follow you as we make this decision. And then come that day, you better have your nice, flashiest suit sitting there with your whole family. Right? They should all be in tuxedos. They should all be in Bond tuxedos, waiting to be called Bond. And then you see their reactions when they don't get it.
I like that.
That's a reality show, and I think that is I think that's a great. I would watch that over any Bond movie.
I love that, because the big disagreement now with Amazon and the Broccoli Lady is Broccoli Lady does not want to have any spin-offs of Bond. She doesn't want to do Young Bond. She doesn't want to do the Q show. She doesn't want to do. She just wants a Bond movie every 8 years or whatever her pace is. But this could be the way of getting more out of that IP. Is okay, there's only one Bond movie, but the reality show leading up to it every week on Amazon or ESPN or Prime or whatever.
Prime. Yeah. I like that.
And they got the Thursday football, so you're promoting it. You have all the Bonds on during halftime of the game.
They'll come out, throw a football.
Yes, that's a challenge.
And it's all part. It's a challenge.
It's a manly challenge, right? Yeah, you got to do stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Even listen, this is risque. This is Amazon. This is reality TV. You have to seduce a woman. That's a Bond move. Like we have to watch it. Who looks best at it? The whole thing. Yes, that's a must. That's a must.
And not to be profane, but you have to stay hard, and there's a measurement for how long you stay hard.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And Amazon could get some money out of. They got their huge deal that they haven't gotten any shows out of with. Who I'm going to say, my baby of the week, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she could be. You take her on a date as a bot. You got to try and seduce Fleabag on the Bond show.
Yeah, because you have to be sophisticated too with her.
Yes.
You have to be a man of letters, and you have to be comedy of manners and all that stuff. Yes.
And she'd be tough on. Yeah, she would be actually perfect because she would really be able to give those guys the business.
Sure. Yes. and
Yeah.
she wouldn't know what fork you're supposed to use during which course. You know, this. I love this idea. And you know what? Maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson, he pulls it off because box office wise, he has no
Yeah.
reason why he should be Bond. But maybe
No.
he seduces Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Maybe he tosses the football through the tire, and they film it so it looks like the silhouette of, when the bullet goes through the barrel at the opening of the Bond movies,
In the
except they're
book,
tossing a
yeah.
football through a tire on Thursday Night
Sure.
Football.
I like
Maybe
that.
he pulls it out.
And listen, it is really just contingent on how Craven does when it eventually comes out.
Yes,
Good point.
because his
Good point.
Craven the Hunter has still yet to come out, as we all know.
Sure. Right.
We all understand that. So Moana 2, I don't think there's anything to say. Is there any? Does anyone around the Barstool offices? No one's talking Moana 2.
No, I'm Moana talk. No.
Is that grounds for dismissal around Barstool if someone was talking about Moana 2? Is that like an investigation situation there?
It's true. It'd be troubling. I would say it'd be troubling only because it's clearly a TV show. It's not a movie. I mean, at that point, then you have to worry about there's several things you have to worry about then. So yeah, I think that would be worthy of a discussion.
Wow. So the Craven effect is so widespread now. It is both not knowing when Craven opened and also not knowing what movies were actually TV shows or are movies.
Yes.
Wow.
Definitely.
This is the healthcare crisis that people should be talking about right now. It's this Craven effect.
Absolutely.
Wicked is at 450 million domestic. It's not going to be $1 billion baby because we've talked about just, worldwide, there's not as much love for The Wizard of Oz. There's no China, but is there anything, is this at all disappointing at this point? Because it opened so big. We thought we were going to have like the biggest phenomenon, or is it, I mean, Clayton right away, his face is saying,
it's a home run. I mean, you can't spin it. This is a home run movie.
It's going to go way past $500 million. Like, you know what I mean? Like domestic, I'm sorry, that's a success.
Okay. And
it's gonna win Best Picture too. Just to, I know it's way down the road, but that's going to win Best Picture.
Here we go. I am kind of on that train.
1,000%. I'm not saying it should. But it checks every box. There's no Oppenheimer this year. There's not even like a lovable Green Book. Like, we're talking about The Brutalist, which I haven't seen yet. In these other movies, like this is going to win Best Picture.
Clayton, what is your pick? Because Clayton thinks he's got the Green Book or the Coda of this year.
My pick is and will always be Conclave.
Will always be.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a path to victory for Wicked, but I just feel in my gut it's going to be Conclave.
That'd be my second pick because nobody hates that movie. Like, it's not. Yeah, it's fine. Like, it's the ending is really stupid, but people like it. So yeah, that'd be my second pick.
That's what I think is that there is the preferential ballot. Obviously, we won't get too much into this, but it is not about what people love. The most people love the most. It's what the most people don't dislike the most.
Something.
Yeah. And so Conclave is squarely it. If someone puts Conclave at the bottom, that's going to be rare. But I could see people being like, Wicked, I don't like these. I don't like Ariana Grande. She's going to the bottom.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I think I'm fully on Wicked. I have Conclave maybe running third, honestly. I think Brutalist ahead of, but we'll see. But yeah, Wicked is the closest thing we have to a phenomenon in the last month. We don't have an Avatar, but this is pretty much the Avatar that we get this holiday season. This is the big one that's going to keep playing. Do you think that Universal is making a huge mistake by they've already put it on PVOD? Is that a disgrace? Would you say if you were back in the days having a morning daily sports radio show where you had to fill up the time and go on 45-minute rants, would you go on a 45-minute rant about Universal putting Wicked on PVOD at this point in its run?
It's just the world has changed and it's still doing really well and you can go get it. I do find that very odd. It's a theatrical experience. People are going to it 2, 3, 4 times because it is a communal thing. Not for me, but it's a communal thing. People are into it. So it is weird. I don't know why you wouldn't wait a little bit for that. I was surprised to see that, but that is 2025 now. That's just it's just how you do it.
Yeah.
Listen, these companies are about making money. If there was a significant impact, they would not do it. And they show that right now, this movie cannot be rented for. It's not like it's being rented for $6. This is a movie you have to buy, or I don't even know if it's available to rent. If it is, it's 25 and 20.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it hasn't significantly impacted box office for successful films. So that I don't think they know what they're doing at this point.
All right. So then let's move on. All right. I think this is the one that you hinted
let him
at.
go.
I mean, what are we fucking doing here? What are we fucking doing? Pat sends me a message. He's like, I saw a complete unknown. It's over. Timothee Chalamet is the biggest star in the history of box office. Bigger than Wayne, bigger than Eastwood, bigger than McQueen, bigger than Cruise, bigger. The fucking movie is made how much after 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Was it 40 million?
42 million.
42 million? Like, that's fine. That's nice. But you're talking about, this is a guy who has now been in a massive franchise, Dune, huge book, huge property, played an iconic character a year ago. Like, Wonka's a major franchise, and played Bob Dylan. Like, I don't have anything against Timothee Chalamet. I like little Timmy. I like him like everybody else. Like, he pretends like college football. He has people writing for him. I got no problem with that. I'm on board for the whole thing. Cocktail I know we don't do this, but if you put it in 2025 dollars, made $440 million. That's Cocktail. I'm not talking about Top Gun here. I'm not talking about Jerry Maguire. Cocktail made the equivalent of $440 million worldwide. No Direction Home is going to make what worldwide? 130? 150?
It
Maybe?
could get to 60 domestic. It could get there.
Wow, geez, 60 domestic. Wow. Let me get my Premiere magazine. He'll be number one on my list this year. Yeah, again, you're putting me in a position to criticize somebody who I have no problem with. But stop graduating these people to superstardom when they haven't earned it yet. He's flying on borrowed wings. He's flying on Bobby Zinnemann's wings. He's flying on Willy Wonka's wings. He's flying on what's his name? Frank fucking what? Herbert? Is that his name?
Frank L. Herbert's wings.
Yeah, Frankie. What are we fucking doing here? I want to see him flipping drinks around, and I don't want Tom Cruise as the old guy in Cocktail because that's stolen valor. If Chalamet does that, give me the version of Brian. Give me whoever. Give me who could play the old guy now? Who's that level of star to play the old guy?
Would it have to be an old Australian?
Dennis Quaid. Give me Dennis Quaid.
That's right.
Give me Dennis Quaid. Who I also think should be nominated for an Oscar. 2 Oscars. Supporting for Substance, lead for Reagan. Give me Dennis Quaid with Chalamet and tell me that movie's make $450 million worldwide. That movie would be straight. It'd be fucking the lead-in for the Bond show on Amazon. It wouldn't even be in the theaters. Like, enough. I like Chalamet. You're making me criticize him. He's not a fucking movie star. He's in big properties, and he's a really good actor.
In this Cocktail remake, so you're saying Cruise cannot be in it at all for it to count? No,
but that's a Cruise movie. That's like having Chalamet play Miles Teller's role in Top Gun Maverick.
So this would have to be a Independence Day resurgence situation where they say that Tom Cruise's character died off screen he's testing out new drink recipes.
Yeah, it was a training. Yeah, it was a training. He went on a training trip and a bottle hit him.
He could die like Denzel's wife did, and he got game. I don't remember not. She banged her head on the counter in that movie.
Right.
Slip and fall at the bar, dead. Flanagan's dead. Or not Flanagan, sorry. Cruise character's dead. And Chalamet's a new guy at the bar. And here we go. Let's see him bring that movie to. Let's see Chalamet in Ransom make, $300 million. Like, let's go. Let's fucking go.
Now, his next announced project,
a fucking ping pong movie.
That's what I was gonna say, Kirk, is that feels very Cocktail to me.
I mean, $12.40.
Well, I was gonna say it's an A24 movie, so we know there is a limit.
Is there a
Right.
Safdie connection to that movie? Isn't there a Safdie involved?
Probably, yeah, probably.
I believe there is a Safdie involved. This is a Josh
and-
Safdie written and directed film.
Great. I'm sure it'll be
Okay.
good. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be really good. And again, you're putting me in a position where you're making me criticize this guy. This is Pat's fault because Pat's elevating him to again,
Well-
like he's makes me nuts. I hate this.
But in 2025 world,
Mhm.
in the world that we live in, all right,
Mhm.
this is the supporting cast right now for this movie.
Go ahead.
Gwyneth Paltrow,
Mhm.
Fran Drescher,
Mhm.
and Penn Jillette.
Mhm.
Now, there's nobody there that's going to goose the box office other than Timmy, right? So therefore, this will not be stolen valor if he succeeds.
Okay.
How much would
Elizabeth-
this movie have to make? What were we gonna say, Kirk? I'm sorry.
Brian Brown, Elizabeth Shue, Kelly Lynch. Who the fuck is in Cocktail?
Well, okay. Well, so
James
that's what I'm saying.
Eckhouse, my friend James Eckhouse, who played the dad in 90210, is in Cocktail, guest of the show. That's what I'm talking about. That's a level of star that Tom Cruise carried to $450 million in 2025 money.
So that's what I'm gonna say.
I'm
That how much money would
Mhm.
this movie have to make for you to say, okay, Timmy is dragging these things past
Domestic?
where
We don't care for it.
domestic,
We don't care for
domestic, yeah.
it. But this is a bullshit. It's not your fault, but it's an A24 movie, so it's not real. It's not a real. I need him. If
You
that
need
made
him to be in a ping pong movie released by
Paramount.
Universal for Paramount.
Yeah, I need him to be. I need him to be in friggin'. Yes, I need him to be in Cocktail. Is what I need him to be in. I need him to be in Jerry Maguire. I need him to be in. Trying to think of a good star. Give me what's a good starring? He's too old for that now. I mean, I need him to be in the movie where he's by himself, no franchise, no big co-stars, no nothing. It's him. He's charming you, and I need that movie domestically to make $130 million.
Right.
Okay.
You need a Hitch situation where it's just
Yes, I need a what's the superhero one he did? The fucking
Hancock. Okay.
Even that's
So
kind of
it could be a
Hitch is-
superhero
Hitch is a
movie,
better
but
one.
it has to be
Hitch is a better one.
new non-IP superhero movie.
Yes, and I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about like the stupid one that Ryan Reynolds did with Krasinski this year. I'm talking about like a real movie. Like a movie.
Yeah. So is there, I mean, not to we always end up on this topic. We love this topic. Is there anyone in the last 5 years post-COVID who is at all fitting that bill for you? I mean, to me, Chalamet feels like the closest of those guys. It's not Tom Holland. He got sucked into Apple TV. God knows where he is. Well, he's got the Nolan movie, but that's not, it's Nolan. It's not going to be Tom Holland.
Yeah.
But Austin Butler felt like that. But
this is even what I say about Glenn Powell, who I know has had some hits, but like the guy was in Top Gun Maverick, and he was in a Twisters reboot. Like I know the one with Sydney Sweeney did well, but I think she was a bigger factor in that.
Right.
So I guess he'd probably be the closest one.
If Chalamet were to do a movie with Sydney Sweeney, the two of them, it's not IP. They're not doing a Pretty Woman remake. They're doing just like two people meet at a bar and then they're dating and they're falling out of love and they're dating, like that movie, and it makes 80 million domestic. Are
you trying to aggravate me? So I mean, like he's with Kelly McGillis, who's basically a nobody at that point.
Nobody.
He's with Elizabeth Shue, who's not a star at that point. He's with Renee Zellweger, who is not a big star. Nicole Kidman was a nobody when Days of Thunder came out. I'll give you Demi and A Few Good Men, but and Sydney Sweeney's as big as he is. She's probably bigger, like in the world, So no, that would not count. You need the female equivalent of Kelly McGillis in Top Gun. You need. I don't know who that is today. That would be whoever. Somebody.
So not even a Millie Bobby Brown graduating from Netflix.
No, what the fuck are you talking about? She's a huge star. I think she's a bigger star than he is. Maybe. I mean, that's the biggest show in the world. Like
that's anger speaking. I think.
If Millie Bobby Brown played. If Millie Bobby Brown had played Dylan in A Complete Unknown, do you think we're at 60 million domestic already?
If Todd Haynes made that movie today, she would have been one of the Dylans.
Yeah.
She would have been one of the Dylans for sure.
That's
And so Timmy would have been as well, by the way. He's a terrific actor, and I thought he was very good. And what I thought was your typical, like, nice music biopic. Like, those aren't for me, but like, I liked it. I think he's a really good actor. Like, I actually think he's gonna win the Academy Award for this, by the way. Because they love giving those to those movies. And, and I think to his credit, by the way, like, I don't think he wants to, like, I think he's going to take these quirky roles on and off for the rest of his career. So, which is good. Like, but I mean, you're not being fair to him, Pat. I'm almost defending him in a way. You're not being fair to him.
What do we think of Dylan coming out of this movie? Because you look at A Rocket Man that got to 90 million. I don't know if this Dylan movie gets there. Obviously, Bohemian Rhapsody is the gold standard. Maybe the Michael Jackson movie gets to that level in next fall. Is this a little underwhelming for what Dylan is, or do you think this is where he stands in rock star IP?
I don't know he means anything to younger people, and he's not as big as, like, he's just not as big as Bob Marley is, for example, for that generation. Like, he's just not. Like, Marley has gone on and on, I think probably because people do drugs, where, Dylan just, like, really isn't. I think it's gonna be a problem with my guy next year. Like, Bruce. No one's gonna want to watch Jeremy Allen White sit in a bedroom and write, Highway Patrolman for an hour and a half. Like, there's just not going to be an audience for that. So I think this is kind of a win, this movie. Like, this is done fine.
I mean, let's get you on the spot in advance. Mm-hmm. Does the Springsteen movie domestically make more or less than what the Dylan movie is going to finish here?
Way, way, way less.
Wow.
Way, 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 way less. Way less.
Wow.
Yeah, way less. You know what?
Does it hurt personally to have to admit that?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's gonna cry macho.
Wow.
You mean fly to the moon? Because that's what we've done. It's gonna fly to the moon.
Wow. So it'll make less than that. Wasn't there a Springsteen movie?
I knew you were gonna pull this out. Pat always pulls this out. Blinded by the Light.
Dreadful. It's not a Bruce movie. It's
not
like
a Bruce movie.
A fan movie about a guy like he grew. Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was not. Yeah, it was not for me.
No one played Bruce. It was a guy who thought he was Bruce and he was a crazy guy. I haven't seen it.
It wasn't like Taxi Driver. No, it was like he grew up. Jeez, I'm gonna get this country wrong. Not England. What was it? I forget. Wherever he grew up. And he connected to Bruce, and he wanted to go to America and see him. And his father was like, stop listening to that rock and roll and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
right. It was not great.
He was a British Pakistani kid,
right? Yes,
and he loved Bruce, and he wanted to go to America. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is huge. That we're predicting the Bruce Springsteen movie to do less than a Complete Unknown.
Oh wait,
but you know what that comes down to as well is that Jeremy Allen White is no Timothee Chalamet. I do think that a lot of the success of this film is because it was the right person in this role. I can't think of anybody else who could have made this a $40 million movie going right now. I just don't.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that is to Chalamet's credit. Yes, Chalamet can get you to $40 million domestic.
42, and I think it's 42.6. I think,
and counting.
He might get you to 60 million domestic playing Bob Dylan. Yeah, that's not nothing.
All right, and then last thing on here, anything to say about Baby Girl? Did you see that? Was that part of the road trip with Harry?
No, I did see it. I thought it was fine. It just felt on the nose to me. It was okay.
Okay.
I feel like Nicole Kidman does 70 movies a year. Like, I feel like she's in 30 TV shows, 20 movies. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. She doesn't talk to some kids, and she talks to other kids of hers. And Tom Cruise doesn't talk to the kid with Katie. I think of that when I'm watching when she's drinking the milk. I'm like, geez, like, she doesn't talk to her kids.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm just saying,
right.
Scientology, what's going on? Like, that, I don't know. you know.
Yeah, it's because she had the Netflix show where she's on Nantucket, and then she's got this movie where she's drinking
Right.
milk out of a bowl, and it's like,
Right. She's got
pick
one with
one of those and go to a kid's birthday party.
right. And she's done something with Zoe Saldana, Lioness or something, and I don't know.
Oh, that's a
what's
TV show. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
Paramount TV show by the guy
Taylor
who
Sheridan.
does Taylor Sheridan. Taylor
Yeah.
Sheridan. Now I didn't see this movie, but I got a review from a really well-respected wannabe boy who said very silk stockings. Do you agree
Yes.
with that?
It's not as good as Silk Stockings because I was, I'm a Silk Stockings guy. But yes,
Mhm.
that would have been a good episode of Silk Stockings.
Yeah.
Which should be made into a movie. They should make that into a movie, that franchise. I don't know why
If
That's the one. That's the one
Yeah.
with Sydney Sweeney. That's what you do with Sydney Sweeney. Silk
Yes, that would
stockings.
work. That would work. Yeah, for sure.
and if they make a Silk Stockings movie, El Prez has got to get on the phone. That has to be a full Barstool marketing integration. It's got to
sure.
be like a month of Barstool Silk Stockings content.
Almost
Yeah.
a lock. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So let's get into, I wanted to get your take, Kirk, on our last episode. We did our 2025 drafts where me and Clayton and other,
Not invited on that. Yeah.
you know, we could have invited you on it, but then we wouldn't be able to get your analysis of the team. So we chose.
Plus, guys know I don't listen to it if I'm on it, so I'd rather have listened to it. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So did anything? I'm just going to quickly, let's just focus on me and Clayton's teams here.
Yeah, give them to me. Go ahead.
So my team is a Minecraft movie, Fantastic Four: First Steps, Karate Kid Legends, The Bad Guys 2, Freak Here Friday, Love Hurts, and Nobody 2. So anything strike you there? Anything you want to go on a rant about, a cocktail-esque rant about any of these picks?
I think there's a chance that each of your movies could suck.
Okay.
Like, I think there's a chance that each of those could not do well.
Oh, so not just suck creatively, but
they could miss. There's a big upside, big downside. Yeah. I like it though. It's you're gambling. You're a gambling man. You're throwing it on the table.
The Minecraft movie is the one that by April I could be done, or I could be having an insurmountable lead.
I was running, listening to it in the morning, and I actually gasped when you made that pick.
Wow.
Yeah. But I admire you have to have certain fortitude to make that kind of pick. So yeah.
That's a movie where I'm going to bring up where I drafted it. When I drafted it, it felt like I did pick it third. So I picked that movie ahead of Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible. Those are the movies that I could have drafted instead of a Minecraft movie. I mean, listen, I'm thinking it's Super Mario Brothers. That's where my head is at.
Could definitely be. That's the thing. I always go by Harry, and Harry has graduated past Minecraft. But if it had been 3 years ago, I would have thought it was a great pick. So I am definitely biased. It may make $1 billion. I always think of when I went to the Masters with my brother Ryan 2 years ago, and we went to go see a movie because there was a rain delay, and a bunch of men and grown men were dressed like Mario when the movie came out. And I thought, well, this is something I just don't understand what's going on. That could definitely happen with Minecraft. I might just be missing the parade. That is definitely possible.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my take on Minecraft, and I know you don't want my take because it doesn't matter. You get my take all the time, but I do think that Mario had the fact that generations grew up with Mario, like decades and multiple generations. Minecraft is not for us. It's not for Kirk. It's not for our parents. It's not for any generation older than like maybe somebody in their mid 30s, right? So I think that's where you're missing with the Mario comparison. It's like we did not grow up with Minecraft. And so you're going to miss out on all of us going to see this movie where there was a lot of people.
No nostalgia.
There's no nostalgia other than for like small kids. It's also a Jared Hess directed movie. So like, I mean, this is the Gentleman Broncos guy that we're talking about here, who's never had any hit.
Vote Pedro. Vote Pedro
is coming
around. We're on 20 years with that.
But I agree with you. This is a boomer bust. I think it's going to be a bust.
Wow.
So that I think, but again, that it's intriguing, and that's what you want with a draft pick.
Did either of you consider taking the Craig T. Nelson Packers movie that's sponsored by Culver's? Have you seen this or no?
I saw the trailer for it for sure.
Did you guys, either one of you, consider making that pick? Culver's is producing it, and Craig T. Nelson's in a religious movie playing a guy who bets his farm literally on the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
We didn't consider it. There's definitely, but free agency is part of our league.
Oh, right. You can make switches. Right? Yeah. Right.
So I could drop, probably not Minecraft movie, but Love Hurts has been on the bubble of my team.
Okay,
Since
consider
the moment I drafted it. So I could draft the Craig T. Nelson movie.
Good.
Is that based on a real season of the Packers? Or is this completely?
I think it's a far year they won the Super Bowl in the trailer.
Oh,
there were highlights of that, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was
Rodgers one.
That was my reason for not drafting it, is because if it is the Rodgers year,
sure,
they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are my team because I'm from Pittsburgh. So that's why I could not, with good conscience, have that on my roster.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Who
are Clayton's picks?
So Clayton's picks are, just bringing that up here. Team Clayton starts with, let's see, Jurassic World Rebirth, F1, Disney's Snow White, Megan 2.0, Ballerina, Den of Thieves Pantera opening this week, and The Accountant 2. So Jurassic World Rebirth is the first pick for Clayton.
I mean, that's gonna be huge. Like it could stink beyond words and make $1 billion. 800 million. Yeah, that's a good pick. F1 makes me a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
F1 is I don't know how well that's going to do in America. I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me a little nervous. Megan 2.0 is, again, the Harry Minahan. That's one of those movies that'll make more than the original in the box office. Definitely. That has grown. The TikTok kids, that crowd, like, they love Megan. That's going to be a big hit.
Wow. And Disney's Snow White, Clayton drafted it knowing it will bomb.
Right.
I drafted it knowing that if the highest it goes is 90, that's still higher than a lot of the movies around it that I would have been picking from.
Right. So then, Clayton feels like his team is pretty solid. Like, I don't see anything there that I think. Well, F1, F1 is the one that's
the boomer
bust. Bottom could totally fall out. Yeah,
probably do great internationally though. Or we don't care about that, right?
We're not counting international in the fantasy league.
The irony of that,
I know.
So, and you know what? Just because he would love to hear it, I do want to get your take on, and feel free to unload on him. You've called him I think a worm on the show before. VP of Interns Christopher. His team is How to Train Your Dragon, Thunderbolts Asterisk, Until Dawn, 28 years later, Wolfman the Monkey, I Know What You Did Last Summer. So
all bombs. They have a loser stink on it. Like, it's just he's got loser DNA. So every one of those movies, I'll be surprised if those movies are released.
Wow.
Like, I think the studio heads will say, listen, this intern who tried to stab somebody in the back while this guy was, fighting for his life is out there, why, can you imagine this is going to be worse than what's going on right now with Blake Lively and what's his face? I mean, when these emails come up between Pat and Krister, oh my fucking God. I guarantee you guys use that same PR group that guy did, the director of that movie.
Oh, they're so talented.
Oh, I mean, they do a good job, but I mean, the level of depression, I can't even begin to articulate it. So no, that's going to be, I predict total box office domestic for his movies, total combined, all of them, $4.6 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Total.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
This is, and he's going to have to hear this, and he's going to have to clip this as well.
It's his job. I mean, look, well, I mean, I know he thinks he's a star. Right away, he brought up the co-host during the draft. I got annoyed at that. Get the fuck out of here. Cut clips and shut up. But the problem is, you guys, you elevate him by putting him in this draft. In a way, it's you're almost giving him drugs. You're making him into this monster. Like,
but
he
Kirk,
should have been 10 drafts. He should get the death penalty, the equivalent of like the old, when I was a kid, SMU got the death penalty in college football. Like,
Mhm.
you don't get anything. You don't get to eat, you don't get to drink, you cut clips and shut up for a year.
Now,
Did you-
Clayton,
well, did you see Kirk also? He is also gunning for Pat's position
I
now
saw
too.
that. Yeah.
And
Well, he's a
so
monster. He's what monsters do. Like, this is no surprise.
and
we
Pat,
had to
I
have
think,
him say that. Me and him had to have him say that.
but see, here's the thing, Pat. You're acting as if he's not coming for you now too, and I think you're being a little ignorant at what's going on here, because you were just assuming, you were talking about, oh, maybe if he does so well, he's going to get a shot at the co-hosting chair, and I reminded you, you are a co-host too. We are co-hosts. There is not a host and co-host. There are co-hosts. We are co-hosts.
He wants the power. He doesn't care who he gets. He just wants the power.
He would kill both of us. He would take us both out. He'd be here sitting talking to Kirk by himself.
Mhm.
Now, Kirk, I mean, this goes without saying.
Well,
a Christopher run BO Boys
oh,
with the S like slashed out,
right.
and it's Christopher. Do you do that show?
Would I go on that show?
Would you go on that show?
Oh, I'd go on that show.
Okay.
So, I go on it and tell them. I mean, this is fucking crazy. Of course, I do one time only.
Okay.
Then I'd be done. And what happens is guys like you then go away, and it's not dissimilar because I remember thinking in like 2000, 2001. Gee, whatever happened to Mira Sorvino? Gee, whatever happened to Ashley Judd? Well, God, now we know what happened. A monster was pulling the strings. So now, and I'm like, oh, gee, I kind of miss Clayton. I miss Pat on there. What happened to those guys? Well, now we know. Wanna BO boy fucking Christopher is in his own way comparable to that level of monstrosity.
Wow.
In his own way. Yeah.
So would you go on this show? Would you go on this show and do a Crossfire? Would you pull a Jon Stewart on Crossfire?
Yes. Yep.
And just dismantle the show?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to. I mean, when he's on it, it's dismantled anyway. But I mean, like, to go on with him and have, of course, yeah. I mean, listen, you guys know, in addition to this show, the Kirk Minihane Show, I have a true crime podcast. I've solved 2 murders. I've been face to face, literally, with guys who have been arrested and prosecuted for murder. Yeah. I've been in the same room as these guys, and I've seen this guy's Christopher's eyes, and there is a certain bell rings in my head when I see him.
Mm-hmm.
A certain bell rings. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Here's the thing. You're one of your producers, Dave. I think he's there. He works on the case. You got the next season already locked and loaded. It's what happened to the BO Boys. Yeah. And it's the investigation of Chris.
And it's your fault, Pat. Like, it started when Clayton was away, and you could have done the right thing. I would have been happy to do a show. I'm sure Scott would have been happy to do a show. You could have brought in like Ebert did after Siskel died for a while. Mm-hmm. You do the right thing. You bring in people. You bring in a Harry Knowles type. Again, kind of reminds me of Christopher. You keep bringing in these different people. But instead you said, no. I want to be the lead guy. Like, I'm surprised the name of the show wasn't changed, like Pat at the movies or something during that.
Yeah.
That's a good title.
It doesn't surprise me. It's an awful, terrible thing.
If I had brought in Harry Knowles specifically for that episode, modern Harry Knowles, whatever state he's in, and I had wheeled him in instead of Christopher, you think that is a morally and creatively a better episode?
It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade.
For sure. Yeah. You could have had Larry Nassar in there. I'd say it's an upgrade.
Wow.
Of course. Morally. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, that's what's going to make this fantasy league great radio, because everything's on the line. We're fighting a monster who is looking to take everything away from us. Right. And all we have to fight with is F1, a Minecraft movie, Love Hurt starring Kiwi Kwan. That is what we have to hold off this monster.
Yeah.
You empowered him, Pat. You empowered him with that talk during the draft that he was going to get a shot at a co-hosting chair if he wins.
I did. I'm always thinking what makes great radio, but also then it makes me lose sight of, will I end up in a grave because of what I'm saying right now?
It's tough.
Yeah. It's a tough balance. Last thing I wanted to get your opinion on, Kirk, is tonight are the Golden Globe Awards. First of all, will you be watching the Golden Globes? The time we tape this, it starts in about 2 hours. Are you going to be watching it live?
Maybe something quick after this, and I will go and watch some. It's on CBS.
It's on CBS.
So right? Is that right? So it'll be on probably even a little later because football will end, and then 60 Minutes will end, and then probably. So I'll watch it. I don't know what it means. I know they're trying to take it more seriously now. But yeah, I like award shows, so yeah, I'll watch.
Are you excited for? It's hosted by Nikki Glazer. Last year was Joe Coy, right?
Yeah, that was
following
tough.
Joe Coy and Jared Carmichael. I do think this will be the most awardsy. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Like it's sad to see Ricky Gervais down. If you see him on Twitter, he does things now. He's like, if I was hosting, I'd tell this joke. And like, oh, don't do that. Like, it's a lot cooler if you just don't acknowledge that you're not hosting. It's kind of sad.
Carson never did that. Crystal never did that.
No. Yahtzee and Steve Martin's not doing that. So it'll be fine. I don't know what it means, what it portends for the rest of the awards. Probably not much. But yeah, I like a couple of, I like the old wacky moments. Somebody drunk goes up there. But yeah, I don't. And they like giving stars. I think I think Timothy's going to win tonight. So yeah, I think you'll have a couple of big moments.
Well, let's just go over the award for cinematic and box office achievement. Here are the nominees.
Go for it.
For that: Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2, Twisters, Wicked, The Wild Robot. Does Wicked have to win this? Is there any world in which something other than Wicked, Clayton, you before we got on air said Inside Out 2 or The Wild Robot could win? I mean, my take is if Wicked doesn't win this, it cannot win Best Picture at the Oscars. It has to win this.
Okay. I guess. I mean, I guess it had the most conversation of a big box office movie in the U.S. this year. Inside Out 2 made more worldwide. Alien Romulus? Yeah, is that nominated? Really?
Alien Romulus is up there.
Was Ian Holm nominated for Alien Romulus for supporting actor?
He was in cinematic death achievement for Ian Holm. I'm looking at the actual top 10 of the year.
I feel like I'm forgetting
and movies they left out. So it's like they didn't put Despicable Me 4, Moana 2. Okay, here's a one.
Dune was not nominated. Yeah.
Dune 2 is the 5th biggest movie of the year box office wise, and it's not in this category.
Yeah, why was Alien Romulus nominated, not Dune 2?
Yeah.
I don't get. I mean, I must have some reasoning, I suspect, but yeah, I don't know that. I don't know.
So you know what this makes me feel then? They look at that movie as a legitimate contender for a Best Picture.
Oh, right.
Where they don't see that with Wicked, and that's why Wicked is in this.
Okay. But why? Yeah. Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus, that's the one that I do think they have to start the telecast with some kind of disclaimer, some kind of explanation of why Alien Romulus is in that category.
Well, they should have Ian Holm like he was in the movie, like have him come up in the computer and give his explanation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pat, did you see this movie?
I did not see Alien Romulus.
Okay.
Yet, no.
Kirk, did you saw this movie? Okay, so the Golden Globes are run by a bunch of European perverts, correct? I mean, I know they changed a lot, but it's still that. And there was the alien jizz in that movie. And so they look at that as the highest form of art. I mean, these same people that you love to bicycle around in France and have big loaves of bread with are love to see, black alien jizz everywhere. And that's why that made it over Dune, because Dune did not have any alien jizz in it.
It didn't, but it did have sandworms, which are seem very erect.
But they didn't jizz.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't finish.
Yeah. You got to have that. Yeah, I don't. Very weird. That is very weird. I don't like Dune 2 is a wet dream for the foreign. Like I don't even get it. The filmmaker, the cast. I mean, Chalamet's not a star, but still, like that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why that is.
I think this nomination for Wicked is bad because of that. Because this
Interesting.
feels
Especially if it
like
wins, right?
yeah, because this feels like a consolation for movies that couldn't be nominated for other
Interesting.
bigger
Yep.
you
I'll buy
know,
that.
things. That's bad that Wicked's in here. So I think I agree, Pat. It's like if it doesn't win, it's sunk. But yeah, this looks like a consolation prize, and I know the Academy's different than the Golden Globes, but this makes this seem like, oh well, this is just a trifle. We don't have to worry about this as a legitimate film that could be Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. And the last one I want to bring up is a movie that I think the biggest snub of the night is in this category. The collab Godzilla x Kong did not get nominated for cinematic and box office achievement. That movie made 196 million. It is the collab. How is it not on here?
I'll give you another one too. Again, I think we're doing like it's obviously you're outperforming the expectation. Like the Substance, I think worldwide has made almost $80 million.
Yeah.
Like that to me is way more impressive than whatever Alien Romulus, where
Deadpool Wolverine.
Yes, yeah. Like this is probably 5-6x what people would have thought. But yeah, the collab for sure. I don't understand. I'll give you another one. 30 million for Reagan.
Okay.
I mean,
that's a big one.
Give me Ronnie. You guys know I think John Voight should be nominated tonight. So
yes.
I don't like that hasn't happened either. But listen, cuck libs at work again.
The cast of Reagan should present something tonight together.
I'd like to see a SAG nomination for the cast.
I think that's very possible because it's tough to pick just one of them out.
Yeah, you got Bob Davey, you got you got John Voight, you got Dennis, you got Penelope.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'd love to see them come out arm in arm tonight. Robert Davey, John Voight, they all come out.
Especially with Jimmy Carter's body still out there.
I was just gonna say it's such a shame that Reagan and that cast are not in the conversation for awards because the synergy right now of you have the cast show up at Carter's funeral. You've got Quaid, you've got Voight, you've got Kevin Dillon.
Right.
They show up at the funeral. Yeah, in character, in full makeup.
You want Quaid on a horse coming in there.
Yep. I mean, that's it's respectful. I mean, I think it would be absolutely respectful. And because Ronnie, the real Ronnie, can't be there, and he would be there if he could be there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you just you get them all there, and I think that would be great for its awards chances, but also a great moment in American history.
I mean, the other
thing they could have done, Pat, is like the old days, like the old was open to it, is Penelope Ann Miller and Dennis Quaid in character having their TV dinners. And Nancy being like, "Oh, what's on tonight?" And Ronnie's like, "Oh, he puts on, it's the Golden Globes," and boom, it starts that way. You could do it that way also,
Yes,
I thought you were going to say they watched Jimmy Carter's funeral, but I mean, they could switch from the funeral to the Globe.
You're like, "Oh, this is so sad. Is there anything we can kind of laugh about, sort of celebrate?" And Ronnie's like, "Oh, I was at this thing many years ago, whatever," and boom, put it on there. It's the Golden Globes. That could work.
That would be great. I mean, they could start off watching Jimmy Carter's funeral, and then Reagan makes a quip about, "I thought I killed him in 1980."
Right.
And then they flip over, and that's Ricky Gervais wrote that joke. You saw him tweeted earlier today.
Edge of distasteful, but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say over into distasteful. I was actually pretty disgusted by what you said. Yeah.
But again, he's a liberal. He's a France guy. It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah. That is going to be a big talking point tomorrow. Is not how is the Reagan cast represented on tonight's telecast?
Sure.
That's good. That's going to be, and Quaid's already there for The Substance. So
that's true. He'll be there. That's right.
He'll be there. He's sitting at that table. If nothing else, as an act of protest, Reagan, Dennis Quaid should sit at the Substance table in full Ronald Reagan makeup.
That'd be great.
And only respond to Ronnie or the Gipper.
Yes. He will not move out of the way. If someone wins and they're trying to get past them, they have, like Chalamet, if he wins Best Actor, has to say, "Excuse me, Mr. Reagan."
Yeah, there should be Secret Service around him.
Yes.
Because you never know. I mean, obviously, you hate, it's just a fact.
These days.
Yeah.
You never know. All
many
right,
nuts
this
out
is
there.
all very exciting. So I'll be watching the Golden Globes.
Mhm.
Kirk, is there
Mhm.
anything else you want to let the wannabe O boys, wannabe O girls, wannabe O people know? I mean,
People.
just start. I know you must have been so in love with being on stage with the BO boys in November. You
Oh,
have your own live show coming
I
up.
do. I do. We'll be in New Hampshire in March. Laconia, New Hampshire. I think it's sold out. So, but yeah, it'll be March 1st. Got the Kirk Minahan show, obviously, a couple of days a week at Barstool. The Case will be back. And if you're listening, Surviving Barstool is still going. Starts again on Monday. I guess today, as people are listening to it. We're down to whatever 10 people left playing for $250,000. I'm one of them. I'm still in it.
Wow.
So that'll be on YouTube and Rumble and all those things. I think 8:00 every night. So
Wow.
yeah.
So as of right, okay,
I can't spoil. I mean,
you can't spoil.
I've signed my life away on this thing. So yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say all to say, who knows right now who we're talking to right now? We could be talking to
Yep.
the guy who won it. We could be. We don't
Definitely
know. He hasn't
possible.
told us.
Definitely
It's definitely
possible.
possible.
Definitely possible.
You got to watch that. Very exciting. Looking forward to the live show. I mean, we'll talk to you before then. I mean,
Yes.
one thing though about your live show on March 1st, have you realized what happens the next day on March 2nd?
Sunday, March 2nd. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Of course I no, I'll be zipping back. Yeah, no, I'll be very excited. It's a big night. Of course, the biggest
Academy
night of all.
Awards.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you may have to have some Oscars content on the live show. That's
I
all
think
I'm
it's
saying.
possible.
And,
I'll just
I
say
don't
that.
know who
Yep.
you'd have to team up with to come up with that, but just, I think the crowd will demand something
Well,
Oscars related
Of
at
course.
the show. So of course, email us theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. Follow us on social media at the BO Boys Pod. Want to be a VP of interns, Christopher, killing it with the vertical clips on Instagram and TikTok, as I'm sure everyone here would agree.
And soon to be killing us.
Probably.
He's killing it. I've been saying it for years. He's killing it. Of course, read the Substack. The Substack is back. Link in the show notes. I've got the BO Boys have written 2 new articles in just the last few days.
Wow.
So you got to check out the Substack. We're going to be, that's it. We're doing it. Articles 2 to 3 times a week going forward. Very exciting stuff. And of course, hey, Kirk, you might be interested in who's going to be our guest on the next episode of the BO
I think
Boys.
I know. I think I might know.
It is a friend of yours or an enemy. I don't know what's going on.
My
I
best
haven't seen
friends.
every episode.
Yeah.
Chris Clemmer is going to be
wait a
on
minute.
the next episode.
Wait a minute. No, I thought it was somebody else.
Yeah.
I thought it already had gotten on the Barstool Slack.
Clemmer
but yes,
started, as you know, Clemmer started here. He started on the
this-
Kirk Minahan show. He was yeah. Oh, so Clemmer. Oh, he'll be good.
That's is there anything that you specifically want asked of him that you never were able to ask personally, but the BO Boys could do that for
my
you?
take on Clemmer is that he hates movies. Like, he is a guy who goes to movies but is miserable. He doesn't like movies, but he's obsessed with them. So, his goal this year is to see every movie that's released by a studio that plays at least 1,000 theaters. One of the worst ideas, one of the most complicated, dumb ideas of all time. So ask him about that journey he's on. So he'll see 46 movies this year, like everybody else does. So yeah.
He did tell me when we were emailing, he said, I'll be seeing The Damned this weekend.
Yes, that's his first one. I did see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So we will hit him with that. So he will be the guest on the next episode of the BO Boys. And yeah, guys, I think we've done it. I mean, I'm done. I got nothing.
I finished. And
Right.
Pat, you've said it all. Maybe too much.
Yep. All right.
There's nothing left to be said.
All right. Well, I'm out of here then.
Except for
until
next time.
We'll smell you at the box office.
Nailed it.